What is up, y'all? Spring is here, and I have been so freaking busy. I haven't even had the time, not even to make a short video here and there. By the time I get done from my 9 to 5, which I work as a carpenter doing cabinet installation, bleh, then I get home, I work on the plants, and I go out to the garden, and I'm like, okay, time to get some videos, time to see what's going on. It's already dark already, so there is one thing that's been really cool that I've been enjoying. Let me fix this. I've actually been selling plant starts. So this is a new side hustle that I've been up to that's actually been doing pretty well. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit, share with anybody that is really into growing plants and maybe doesn't have enough space to grow them all out, or wants to know how can they get involved with the farm or something, but finds it hard to get involved with the farm because maybe they're looking for a specific type of labor or a specific type of schedule, or they're not going to educate you on the things that you want to learn. So it's actually been a whole new thing because I've been doing garden consultations, I've been doing redwood raised bed installations and custom builds for people, and that's been fun, but there hasn't really been a whole lot of people hitting me up for that. It's been a here or there, make one every other month or something and make a few $100. It's not like a big money maker for me or like a good side hustle, really. Just something, well, I've got the tools since I'm doing this right now and I can do that. But this, selling the plant starts, has actually been a huge success here. And I want to talk about the reasons why I think it's been successful and share what you could do if you wanted to pursue this in your area, because you do not need a whole lot of space. If you just have like a good porch that gets a decent amount of sun, or if you got a little patio, a back patio, you don't need to even have dirt to do this. Well, you need dirt, but you don't need to have dirt in your yard. You can use pots and of all different sorts and natures. And once you get a few of these different techniques down, like pricking your plants apart and sowing your seedlings and getting good germination and learning all of that, then you're gonna find, wow, I can get hundreds and hundreds of plants for a few bucks of seeds. And once you pot them, you're like, okay, this did cost some money in soil, but you're like, not that much. So you go to the store and you look at the way that they're selling plants, and it might be like $6 for a plant this size. You don't have access though to the varieties that grow well locally. You just have what the big box store is selling to like every store in the country. So here in San Clemente in Orange County, there aren't a lot of stores that have anything other than ornamental plants. There's so many places where you can get lots of different succulents for a whole range of different prices and quality points. And there's a lot of different stores where you can get tropical landscaping plants, but the selections of actual food starts for people that have gardens in their backyard is very limited, and it's not selected for the local environment. There are like no local nurseries out here. And the ones that do have plants for sale, they're not actually starting those. They're just buying them from another store and reselling them. And for these reasons, I was like, man, I'm just gonna go on the Nextdoor app and let them know. That's where I sold some redwood beds. I was like, I'll let people know I have plant starts. I did that a few times. People started hitting me up. I was like, cool, this is paying for some dirt, paying for some plants. And next thing you know, it'd be like in one day I'd sell $50 worth of plants. And the input cost there for me might have been like $5, maybe 10, depending on what seeds they were. But different plants, obviously you're gonna have to charge different amounts for. Like you can get like 300 seeds of a brassica, like a broccoli, in one pack, and you can get really good germination. Prick those apart. You might have some losers that you don't want to sell people, but the big plants, the ones that you prick apart that are the largest. And what I'm talking about here with pricking apart is a multi-sowing method. So say you had one little planter cup, you could drop a ton of seeds in there, depending on what you're growing. For lettuces, you can do them really thick. For brassicas, you can go pretty thick. For tomatoes, I would go a little bit less thick. For squashes, even less thick, or space them apart a little bit more, one seed here, one seed there. But then you can get this one pot and pull all the plants apart carefully so that you don't disturb the taproot. But this process of pulling the plants apart and separating them into individual pots allows you to select for the most vigorous seedlings at that step right there. Those are going to be the ones that are growing the most strong, they have a thick stem, and they're really vigorous. And the ones that are kind of weak or stunted right off the bat, you don't have to even plant them out in your garden, or you could up pot them and see what they do. But that being said, so you have access right there through that technique to all the highest quality seedlings. So once you prick apart the highest quality seedlings, now you're like, okay, these are all the best of this batch. I might have got 200 out of 300 of these seeds, and it's 200 plants that I could sell for like $2 to $6 each off one $2 pack of seeds. And maybe you won't have people wanting to buy all of that broccoli, but you will be able to make like a seed investment of only like $50, a soil investment of like $100, and get going selling a ton of seed starts to people. You just got to be aware of how much soil that you're selling them, and that way that you're not robbing yourself blind, giving people too good of a deal on dirt in large pots, right? So you got to get the techniques out, like the pricking apart. You could look up Charles Dowding, has a lot of good information on this, or you can check out my channel. I've got a lot of information about pricking apart seedlings and on sowing seedlings. If you want to look at the nursery, you can check out some of my shorts. I'm going to be talking about it more because this is something that's actually picking up steam. I do a lot of things for side hustles. Like I said, make those redwood raised beds, help people out with all sorts of odds and ends. I make like skin salves. I sell people my dried herbs on my website, and I sell people seeds. But the plant starts has been something that right off the bat, it's hitting the ground running. And the cool thing about it is the people are recurring customers, so long as you're giving them a good product. And since the product out here, like I said, is pretty crappy, all I have to do is provide pretty good quality starts, and everyone's going to be stoked about it. And you're going to get a lot of referrals from people. So what you're going to want to focus on while you're doing this is making sure that you're growing varieties that are easy to grow, that people will have success with, that maybe you can give them some growing tips. And this is where having a larger garden to grow out the plant starts that you're starting will be beneficial, but it's not necessary. And people will still buy plant starts from you to plant in their larger gardens, because a lot of people have a hard time with their busy schedules, or because they're just not attentive enough to take care of their seedlings and get them started. You could invest in a little grow tent where you have a light, and you can get that for just like $100, $150, a grow light and a tent. You can start a ton of seedlings in that vertically, or just under the light out of season, and get people their plant starts really early. You want to grow varieties that aren't the same common ones they're going to get at all the box stores, and you want to grow varieties that are well suited to the area that you live. So right now you can go to the store and buy big slicer tomatoes, the plants for those, and get a big plant. But if you plant that out here in San Clemente right now, it's probably not going to do that well for you. The reasons for this are we get the May gray and the June gloom, as they call it, and we have a really foggy, cloudy spring usually. And so these plants that they need dryness to flower, because they flower through to pollinate themselves, because the pollen needs to be dry in order for those fruits to set, because I'm doing the vibration with my hand. Yeah, they need to vibrate and drop the pollen to pollinate themselves. There you go. So when it's really wet out, the conditions aren't right, and it's blocking the sunlight, which could cause the tomatoes that did set fruit to ripen more slowly. The solution for this? Cherry tomatoes. All right, so having these ideas in mind, like instead of selling people a giant variety of broccoli that not a lot of people have space for, or that's going to be more prone to bugs or problems, or is going to be more difficult to grow, need a bunch of heavy fertilizers, sell them a sprouting broccoli. Instead of selling bulbing onions, sell people green onions. You can get a ton of green onion seeds for super cheap and sell people a lot of green onions. They're going to have a lot of success growing that. So just thinking like this, I've been, more than pumped, because I actually have a side project that I was doing before I even started selling these plant starts, which is to start hundreds of new varieties of seeds here in San Clemente this year to test out the conditions and see what varieties grow well in this environment, so that I can share the information and just know for myself, because I like growing plants that are easy to grow, not growing plants that take a ton of work and feel like, why am I even doing this? This is more effort than it's worth. A good successful run in the garden for me is planting something, putting some effort into it, and then when it comes time for the harvest, I'm like, dang, that really paid off. It was cheaper than buying it. That means you did a good job. But when it's like, what am I even doing? So it's like, you gotta find what grows well in your area, the right varieties, and sell them to people at the right time of year. So if you wanted to sell people slicer tomatoes out here, you might wait, because we have what they call an Indian summer. I don't know if that's a loaded term or anything, but that's what they call it out here, where we get this really late summer that goes into the fall, and it gets really dry, and that's our bad wildfire season usually. But that's really good weather to grow tomatoes and squash. So that's what you have to be ready for, is like what the weather's going to be like, so that you can hook people up. They're going to be really happy. They're going to tell their friends. They're going to return, and they're more than happy to pay a similar price to what they're getting from the store, although you'll find that you can give them a better deal and still make a good amount of money. Here's some other tips real quick. So if you go to your local nursery, you can get access to all different sizes of pots and also different trays. You're going to need these trays if you're selling people plants because how do they take the plants away? Or if you have access to some upcycled boxes, or tell them bring your own tray. The more space they have, the more plants they're gonna buy. If they just have 2 hands, they're only gonna grab 4 plants. You know what I'm saying? So you can get these trays from your local nursery or from different box stores. They always are getting plants in, and plants are dying or they're up potting them. Different things are happening, and they just end up having to throw away all of these pots. So you can get lots of different pots. That way you're not spending money on pots. All you're spending money on are seeds and soil, and I guess some water if you're paying for your water. So one more tip, I do like to water my seedlings with filtration off of the garden hose. So you can get these little things that screw onto the hose. There's one called the Boogie Blue, and there's all sorts of other brands as well, like RV filters to filter the hose water. It gets some of the chlorine out, and I find that the seedlings really benefit from this. So anyway, I'm hopefully going to be able to upload some more stuff soon, and both short videos and longer videos that I've had banking around in my mind for a long time, but I've been so busy with everything. I am trying to catch up. The onions are planted, you know, the potatoes are planted. Those are big projects. The strawberry raised bed is made, so now it's just down to peppers are going to be coming up, and then I got just general garden maintenance. So hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit more content. It's fun making these videos. I appreciate everyone that's been watching them. You guys are awesome. If you want to see more, make sure to, I guess, you know, do the stuff, like it, because it's good for me, it's good for you. You'll see more, and I'll be seeing more, you know, and I'll be seeing you. So I guess I should end that here, and peace, everybody. Start your own nursery. Sell people some plants. Do it.